Hi, this is Jerry,
I'm Gerald.
and we're looking forward to talking today about alternative treatments for arthritis. Is there such a thing? Well, I can tell you there certainly is. I'm joined today by my son, who is a nationally licensed paramedic and is studying to be a flight paramedic, and that means getting to run around in helicopters, which, take me for a ride sometime. I'm stuck here in the lab. That'd be great. So anyway, we're really looking forward to bringing you these videos, which we do every single day. And there is such a thing as an alternative treatment for arthritis. You have to know first, what is arthritis? Well, as a former chairman of the Central Texas Arthritis Foundation many years ago, I found out that arthritis is about 111 different kinds of diseases and conditions that comes under an umbrella, inflammatory disease umbrella called arthritis. So what in the world is it? Well, most arthritis doctors, medical doctors, will tell you it has now been determined to be pretty much an autoimmune response. Something is attacking you to have your own body attack itself. So there's something out there that is a major allergen that's contributing to the destruction of your body by your body. And a lot of that is very, very obvious with some of the drugs that are on the market now. There's a lot of examples of treating psoriatic arthritis and various other material, and they'll say, oh, take this or take this product or whatever. And if you look into those products, the technique for taking care of those reactions of various kinds of arthritis is to shut down the body's natural immunity. So they'll say, don't take it if you have an open sore. Don't take it if you have had TB, or you're going to go where there is tuberculosis or whatever. You're opening yourself up to some real tragedy in the future if you follow through with some of that. So what else can you do? Well, arthritis primarily is an inflammatory response. And so can we reduce the inflammation? Yeah, we can. And one of the places I attack arthritis, and nutritionally, I attack arthritis, not as a doctor, medical doctor, but as a naturopath. I can get results by getting someone to really heal up their gut. If you go in and you take 80 to 100 billion units of probiotic, and this material is at least 30 strains of bacteria, and you drink some Kiefer or some Kombucha and may eat a little bit of sauerkraut or some Korean Kimchi or whatever, these are all materials that help boost the flora in your gut. So by doing that, you can reduce the autoimmune responses that might be triggering some of this, at least help knock it down a little bit. Now, I also use something called resveratrol. And resveratrol, when taken high enough doses, somewhere between 600 and 1,200 milligrams a day, this material also can have significant effects on the inflammatory response of arthritis. In some cases, I have seen results where patients, we refer to them as clients in the naturopathic world, these people have seen massive reduction in the pain and suffering that they encounter with arthritis. And the way I would explain it to them is, and this would be the way I would discuss it with you, or you were asking me, what do I take? And I would say, if I had this form of arthritis, the approach I would use for myself is I would use 6 to 1,200 milligrams of resveratrol a day. Now, resveratrol is extremely good at also killing off various kinds of fungi or viruses or even bacteria. And some forms of arthritis, because there's 111 at least different kinds of materials that can be labeled as arthritis, could be triggered by any one of those kind of pathogens as well. Now there's even a discussion of some forms of arthritis might be driven by viruses. We don't know. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going there. But I see results in reducing inflammation by using resveratrol. So, do you have any comments on that? You see it all the time.
So I see a lot of inflammation all the time. I don't make diagnosis in the field. I make recommendations to physicians who, then take all the information I've found and then make diagnoses. And so when I take care of someone who has an inflammatory issue, the after the fact treatment that I am able to give is usually pain control, up to and including narcotics for extreme pain. If you can avoid any of the deleterious effects of the inflammatory process that is the multi-type arthritis as we know it, if you can stay away from the things that cause inflammation and help your body sustain itself in a way that is active, moving. Dick Van Dyke is a great example. Guy's still dancing.
Dick Van Dyke is still alive?
I have to look that up. Now you make me doubt myself.
I don't know, but I've not seen anything that he isn't. But the man is mid-90s by now for sure.
Either way, regardless of what I can look up on Wikipedia as of now, now that I doubt myself, he was going, he may still be going for a really long time because he moves his body.
He does.
And he did so successfully for decades. And that's an excellent example of alternative treatments. And so movement. Some people say you can do yoga, and others will respond negatively and say, "Oh, I don't need to just stretch in front of people." Well, get on YouTube. This is a perfect example of why you should get on YouTube, and you should get on YouTube for that and do yoga in your home. Stretch out, move your body, keep your joints moving, which is a good way for the rest of your digestive system to say, "Hey, we need a little hyaluronic acid, to help in joint movement. I think we need some more connective tissue in our diet to help with increased joint function." And so with that, alternatively, instead of getting to the point where you are, and in the worst case scenarios that I've seen people go on hospice care because of arthritis that has gone so bad in its multiform type that you've described. I don't get a lot of time to find out what type they're dealing with. I just know that when patients call 911, they're either dealing with pain, or they've been hurt, or they have a pathology that is contributing to their ailments. And if you can, like in previous videos, we've talked about ramping up over time with good habits, good techniques, good things. I guess the comments I would want to get across in this for alternative treatments for arthritis specifically is maintenance yourself as you would a well-working engine, or you want to keep parts moving.
I've got something else to add to that. I want to share something with you. I'll share this with you watching as well. Gerald never had a chance to meet my adopted mother. She passed away from massive rheumatoid arthritis, and which led eventually to heart failure because it was so poorly understood in 1957. And so that was, we're looking at 61 years ago. And I was a 6-year-old child, and I saw this woman die because of medical ignorance at that point. That just didn't know what to do. And a few years after she died, I found a number of the bottles of various kinds of steroids, and prednisone was given to her at the rate of 200 to 300 milligrams at a time. And she swelled from about 160 pounds to 300 in 6 months. Retention of fluid was
severe,
beyond anything. And
and you say that contributed to heart failure as well?
Yes, absolutely. She ended up just passing away from that. It just was too much of a strain on the body. And at that time, people didn't understand that if you have bone spurs, you're lacking calcium. The body is hunting calcium, and it's trying to get it from the bones. And so the doctors, as soon as she developed bone spurs, they took her off of calcium. She was dead in a week. She couldn't have any calcium whatsoever, and so the heart just quit. And so that was really barbaric treatment, but it was all they had at that time. So that was one reason why. Well, later in life, I decided to see if I could do anything, and became chairman of the Arthritis Foundation in Central Texas for a while, just trying to do what I could. And now, as a naturopathic doctor, I have opportunity to also make a difference. Now, I will tell you there is another thing that we can do, and it's very, very important. We need to take care of our mitochondria. And the mitochondria, for those who don't know, are small, little, tiny bits of material that have their own genetic makeup, and they are in our cells. You may have 500 in the cells on the skin of your big toe, and you may have as many as 10,000 in any neuron of the brain. So mitochondria is extremely important to keep the body healthy. And as we age and as we enjoy the standard American diet and all the other fake food that we eat and all the toxins that we come in contact with when we spray the chemicals on our yards and everything else, or smoke or drink or whatever, our mitochondria suffers. Well, it happens to be true.
And they're powerhouses.
Oh, absolutely. They're where we get our energy in our cells. That's what mitochondria does. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. The point is that people with arthritis are suffering from a depleted mitochondria as well. And if you start improving the amount of mitochondria that's in your system by targeting the care and feeding of mitochondria, which you can do, there's research on that. And actually, at a company called Time Challenger Labs, there's a product called Mitochondrial Support, which is very, very well researched, 16 years on the market, and an excellent product to really help improve your mitochondria. And it's something that that product Gerald and I have been using for all of those 16 years. And it's been phenomenal for both of us. We don't take medications, don't have to take medications, and he's 34 and I'll be 70 next year. So I feel very blessed with good health, and I don't have any indications of arthritis whatsoever. I did when I was younger. It's gone. Don't have it.
Warning signs. Just a big walking, breathing warning sign for me. That's what he is. So if I don't pay attention to what he's been through, then I stand a good chance to go through it myself if I don't do something about it. And the earlier I do it, the more general maintenance I do to avoid those things that contributed to his previous ailments, then
The old saying, physician heal thyself, and that's what I have lived for the last 20 years. I have not, other than having surgery to make major repairs on joints of the shoulder and knees, just having tendons repaired and that kind of thing. I've just, the rest of it, I do not have any medications that I take or any kind of problems at all. And so I think this is a result of care and feeding, proper care and feeding of mitochondria. And I have a relative who was beginning to have fingers turning out to the sides from swelling and difficulty with the hands, and all of her fingers are now straight, and she doesn't have that pain and suffering that she had up to 8 years ago that she had. And doctors actually told her she needed to wear jewelry that would pull those fingers straight.
Was she the one who played the piano?
Yeah. And so there was not a...
Activity, that's good.
Yeah, activity as well. So if you're going to go and do activity, you don't run your car without maintenance. You certainly change the oil, rotate the tires, etc. The human body needs maintenance. And the biggest thing you can do for the human body is the care and feeding of and the rebuilding of your mitochondrial system. All the stuff that you take, all the vitamins and minerals you take, everything that you think is really, really great is probably really great and is going to be a lot more effective if you improve your the amount of mitochondria that you have that's working effectively in your body. I have had people tell me as little as 7 days they were pain-free in the knees where they had problems because of the care and feeding of the mitochondria. And this person was so crazy about it, she said, how can I learn to sell it? She just went nuts over this product. And so I said, well, we can work something out. But the point was that she was extreme skeptic when she tried the product in the beginning. And I said, that's fine. You know, I've tried everything else, she says. I can't believe this would be any better. A week later, she said, what is this? Why does it work like it does? So until next time, I hope some of these ideas about
weightlifting.
Weightlifting. Well, if you have damage already from arthritis, you want to be careful. But if you're young enough that you can do a little bit of weightlifting and don't have already severe damage from arthritis, do it. Even if you're beginning to be, 50 to 70. Using weightlifting in small amounts, building up, really produces a lot of good synovial fluid in the joints. A lot of people creak; they literally pop. And that's because the joints are drying out. Why are they drying out? Because they're not getting any use. The old say, "Use it or lose it." The saying, very true. So if you have a lot of discomfort, move.
And you don't have to exert yourself. You can just do simple resistance training.
Absolutely.
Resistance itself, for you to move your body up and down, your own body weight from side to side, with a little, elastic bands on your ankles to increase resistance. You're telling your joints, we need stuff. We need your joints. At that point, your long bones will be strengthened because of the increased blood flow.
Right.
Your musculature will increase just because you're using it, and the body tends to back up and propagate the things that will help it get the job done.
Absolutely.
What job are you doing?
Yeah.
Perhaps do a better one. And move some weight.
Yeah, and I can tell you too that it's been proven that gravity is real, so you don't need to work so hard at keeping the couch from floating away. So get up and move. It's gonna do a body good. And by the way, I will step on the toes, the American Dairy Association, for a moment. One of the most destructive things you can do as an adult is to be drinking cow's milk, because not only is it not going to build much regarding your calcium levels, it has a lot of bovine hormones that are destructive to the human body, and they're not conducive to good health. And so I have a saying, which I'm sure they loathe when they hear it, is milk does the body in. We don't need to be taking
There's plenty of alternatives too.
Yeah,
it's not like we're short on alternatives.
No, we don't need to be drinking.
Even for baking, I mean, I've seen a lot of my mom.
Absolutely,
she's certain recipes do certain stuff with bovine milk, but there's some milks that you can use that are pretty good. I mean, just in a way that you can barely tell the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cashew milk, very creamy.
Cashew milk, and if you take coconut milk and the coconut cream,
almond milk,
and you whip those together,
hemp milk,
and hemp milk, and there's just so many that are so beneficial. Well, until next time, we're going to leave it there, and we look forward to these kind of opportunities to bring you information, because these are things you've asked about, and that's why we're doing them, because they're on a list of things where we have gotten comments from you, and you said, what about this, or what about that? Well, we put out a video every single day, so keep checking with us. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button. We'd appreciate it. Also, if you really like it, please subscribe. These are things that we're just accumulating as many possible videos on topics that you're interested in. And my son tells me he's coming back, and I look forward to having some of the comments from the medical side of what he sees. Of course, you remember that we're not giving medical advice. And a good example was, if you want to go see a doctor, make yourself a nice list. That's the same thing if you want to go see a naturopath. Make yourself a nice list. And most likely, somewhere on that list, if the complaints are bad enough, the naturopath will look at it and say, no, this is not for me. Go see your medical doctor, because we have our limitations, and we are by law required to honor that, and that's what we do. We have plenty to do without trying to practice medicine. Our thing is nutrition and well-being, and there's so many things that we cover that are in that area. We don't need to be practicing medicine too. So until next time, be well.